Here.
Alternate Commissioner Gaida.
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Ma. Alternate Commissioner Caird.
Here.
Commissioner Tedesco. Commissioner Sewell.
Here.
Commissioner Coles.
Present.
Commissioner Britton.
Here.
Commissioner Chaplinsky.
Here.
Vice Chair Walowski.
Here.
And Chair Hammersley.
Hammersley's here. I did hear from Commissioner Ma and Commissioner Tedesco. They're not going to be here tonight, so we'll see Commissioner Gaida in place of Commissioner Tedesco. And with that, we have a quorum. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Can all remain standing for a moment of silent action, please? All righty, thank you. Item number 6 here, we're looking for a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting on July 15, 2025. Commissioner Walowski,
So moved, Mr. Chair.
do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Gaida with a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We got an abstention.
Yes, please.
Commissioner Sewell is abstaining. With that, motion carries. Item number 7, Commissioner discussion, subcommittee reports. Commissioner Chaplinsky, you have something on the POCD, yeah?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. So I just want to give a little update on the POCD effort. So the consultant we're working with, SLR, opened the survey to town residents on July 7th. It just recently closed on the 15th. However, I do believe they're leaving it open for a little bit longer. Dave, can you confirm that? Yeah, so if you haven't taken the survey yet and you would like to do so, it is still open. The link to the survey can be found in a few different places, I know on Facebook, and then also, I believe, is it on the town website, Dave? Or?
Yes, under featured news.
Okay, under featured news on the town website, but if for some reason you're looking for it, feel free to email any of us and we can get you that link. The survey was advertised in town buildings via promotional flyers and posted on social media, as I just mentioned. Most recently being the Southington Talks pages, which 2 posts were made at the beginning of when the survey was launched, and then a week before closure. So, like as I mentioned, you still do have the opportunity to take it if you would still like to. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes tops. And the next steps are the consultant is planning to aggregate the survey responses into some coherent themes for us to review. The POCD committee plans to review those themes, and and then from there we plan to coordinate with the consultant to set up 2 community workshops in which folks from the Southington community can come and voice their opinions or concerns or feedback in general about any topics they feel are important to them, and we'll take feedback in that regard as well. So just wanted to get, and then those 2 meetings are set up for September of this year and then April of next year. So just a heads up on that.
Yeah, thank you, Todd. I know they've been doing a lot of work on that. I think they're shooting for a target. They're almost there. They're not quite there, so I think that you're really close. So anyone who hasn't taken a survey, please take the time to do it. I actually took it a couple weeks ago. It was quite interesting, and I like the questions that they have there. So, and tell your friends too, by the way, to take the survey as well. It really is going to shape the development of this town for the next decade. So it's an important project that we're undertaking. Do we have any other subcommittees that we have reports on? Okay, seeing none, moving to item number 8, Chairman's comments. Before I read my normal preamble for everybody, I want to introduce Connor Oakes down here, the guy with the tie on right there. He's the new assistant town engineer. He's joining us tonight in place of Dave, who took the night off to spend with his family finally. So Connor is recently hired. Connor, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Bob. Yeah, my name's Connor. I have a little over 5-6 years of experience in the field, and grew up next town over in Plainville, and you kind of have a pretty close connection to the community, and I'm just very excited to be on board and hopefully do a good job and put my best effort to do a good service to the town. So just happy to be here. Thanks.
And Connor, you're a licensed professional engineer, correct?
Yes.
Civic or civil engineer, I'm guessing, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Everybody on the commission or in town, please take your time to introduce yourself to Connor. He's literally fresh here, so I met him for the first time this afternoon, and I think he's going to do a great job. He's a real go-getter from what I could tell, so I'm looking forward to his work and work for the town. So with that, I'll read my normal preamble. Good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Southington Planning and Zoning Commission. My name is Robert Hammersley. I'm the chair of the commission, and I want to take a few moments just to explain the meeting format. Aside from administrative items, which I'm about to end after I finish reading this, tonight's meeting is comprised of two parts, a public hearing and a business meeting. During the public hearing, applicants have the opportunity to give us in detail what they're proposing to the commission members, and following that, it gives the commission members and members of the public the opportunity to better understand what's being proposed and ask any questions during the presentation as needed. When the applicant is done with the presentation, we will then ask members of the public who support or oppose the application to speak. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand, wait to be recognized by myself. Once recognized, come forward to the podium right over here. State your name and your address for the record. And please address all comments directly through myself and not to the applicant or other members of the public. Be advised that this is your only opportunity to ask questions or make comments on the application, because once the public hearing is closed, no additional testimony from the public or the applicant is permitted. It's important to maintain order and decorum at all times, so please speak respectfully, talk respectfully. We treat each other with respect here, even if we disagree on things. Everyone's had a full opportunity to speak. All questions have been answered and all information has been received. The commission will decide whether it's appropriate to close a hearing. We will not consider voting on the application until the business meeting. During the business meeting, the commission deliberates on applications submitted to it and will decide how to act on them. We can act in one of four ways. We can vote to approve an application as submitted. We can approve it with stipulations, conditions, or modifications. We could table an action for a future meeting, or in some cases, we can deny an application. 4 affirmative votes of the commissioner are generally required to approve any application. If for any reason you need to leave before we hit a vote on the one that you're watching, please feel free to call the planning department, Dave LaValle down there at the end. Tomorrow afternoon, you can get the results from tonight's meeting. With that, we will move into our public hearing on item number 9A, Michael and Gail Ambrose, earth excavation application to consider the request to perform an earth excavation to stabilize a rear yard slope at 45 Copper Ridge Road. This is zone R80, EE 146.
Good evening, members of the commission and the public. My name's Mark Lancor. I'm a professional engineer, principal engineer with Dymar, located at 800 Main Street South in Southbury, Connecticut, representing the applicant here, which is Michael and Gail Ambrose. Just to give a little bit of background, and I believe from a housekeeping standpoint, you have the notices and the receipts that have been returned to the office. So, with that. And this application is for an earth excavation, filling, and grading application special permit. Just a little bit of background. This house's location, which is located at 45 Copper Ridge Road, terminates at the end of a cul-de-sac, situated high up on a hill. And since they have, my client has been living there over the years, there has been considerable amount of sloughing off towards their backyard. As I can try to do the best I can, I know the public can't see this, and I believe you also have it with, we sent PDFs so the commission has it for themselves to view on their own screen. But this location is the house, and currently the way it is that there is several decks and the patios sitting in the back, and that area has been sloughing off over the years, and a great concern to the owners of the property that this is going to have a significant effect eventually on their foundation. Now, I know over the years there was some work done years and years ago that was done by this applicant, and there was a cease and desist on that particular property for doing any additional work. The our client retained us back in the spring of 2024, in which we advised them at that time that they needed to come before this commission for a special permit for this earth excavation and filling application. And since then, we actually had, in 2024 in the spring, met with staff out in the field. We met with the engineering department, with David, and to go over some specifics in terms of what was going on and in terms of what our client was looking to do. The first and foremost was to check to make sure there was no wetlands. So we hired a soil scientist, Kenny and Associates out of Fairfield. They evaluated the site. He was present at the time when we had town staff there. And there's a report in the file, and it was determined that there's no wetlands on the site, and that specifically what is on this site is really is a drainage ditch which comes up and takes off of the hill. And that drainage ditch goes down and further down the road and actually goes through the lower neighborhood. So with that, as of 2024, then we were retained to further and to evaluate alternatives for them in terms of what we were going to do. And it came down to, is what the applicant and our client wanted to do, was to fill this particular area. The house is here, and to fill this area here, and to gain access to do that through a neighbor, which you have in your packet, is a letter that would give us permission to have a temporary access down in order to bring the material into this particular location on the site. We do have a second means. He has an existing driveway here, which we could use as a part, but we're gonna need this access in order to complete the job. In doing so, we also have to provide and insert a drainage pipe, which we have provided, one that is sized large enough, which is actually greater than the two 24-inch culverts that cross under our neighbor's driveway. And so then we're providing a 30-inch pipe in this particular location with some energy dissipation riprap in the areas, specifically in accordance with DOT standards. So the application, though, the unique part about this application is the fact that we're also looking for relief. The relief is that in your regulations, it's specifically that you prefer having a 3-to-1 slope. And we understand that in many situations that could be appropriate. We're asking for relief to a 2-to-1 slope, which you have provisions in your regulations based on a 2/3 vote. And we're hopeful that the commission would see in order to grant it. And the reason is because it's the amount of fill. The amount of fill that the application now shows is 1,000 yards, of which about 200 yards is for the completion of the temporary road. 800 yards is for the fill, the 2-to-1 slope. And in the comment, in the process of the review, through staff review, town engineer, and through the planning office, we had to revise our drawings to include a bench, which is required in your regulations. And in doing that, it increased the amount of fill from 1,000 to 1,200 yards at a 2-to-1 slope. So, but if we go to a 3-to-1 slope, we're talking 2,500 yards of material has to be brought in. I know that commissions don't look at things as an economic expense or whatever, but in this situation, 2-to-1 with common, good, clean fill that would be under the supervision of us as the engineers and our geotech to make sure everything was put in stable and proper stabilization, we know a 2-to-1 slope will work. We understand 3-to-1 is the town regs, but again, we're seeking for relief, which you have the ability to be able to do that. We've addressed, we got comments back from both staff, from fire marshal, et cetera, all okay. We got comments back from the assistant town engineer, thank you very much. And I'll say to the commission, he responded very quickly, which is something that we as an applicant really appreciate. And we were able to respond back, and we got a positive report that we basically addressed everything within the original comments. And same with the town staff, with Mr. Sullivan, and, with Dave and his comments too. We actually addressed those as well. So we feel that the application completely complies with your section. It's 8.5, I believe, 8.D.5 of the regulations, which gives you the special permit criteria. We address that in our statement of use, and with the revisions, we feel we completely comply with all of the conditions of the special permit criteria, and then are looking for the commission to look favorably on the relief of going from a 3-1 to 2-1 slope.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any questions from members of the commission? Seeing none? Oh, sorry, Steve, go ahead.
So just to clarify, 1,000 yards total, 200 for the road, 800 to make the fill?
It's been modified slightly because of the comments that came back. We had to add the bench. That increased it to 200, so we're at still 200, but 1,000 of regular import for a total of 1,200.
1,200, okay. And the material that you're bringing in, is that going to be approved by the town, or has that been discussed?
The fill that, yeah, well, the fill that's going to be, it's clean fill. We have specs on the drawings, and specifically to DOT standards in terms of what's considered clean fill, what's unsuitable. All of that would be monitored, tested, and we would be in control and obviously supply the reports. But the town has the option at any time to review it. It's purely within their jurisdiction.
No, understood. And just from a neighborhood impact, how long do you think it would take to get the material into the site and, you know, keep the roads clean, that kind of thing?
I'm looking at, I've advised the client of this, I says, to do the entire job is probably 6 to 8 weeks.
So material would be flowing for,
Not the
Not the whole
entire,
time.
not the whole time. Probably the most is about three weeks to 3 to 4 weeks. Is probably you have material coming in and out.
all right, so if you had to put an estimate on how many trucks per day do you anticipate that the neighborhood would have to listen to?
So from that aspect, if you're looking at, you know, let's just say it's a rough number is 1,000 yards, you know, you're 15, let's say, I'm just looking at 20.
Are
That's
we going
50
with 20 yards per truck?
Truck, legally 15.
Okay,
They'll carry 18 to 20 if they can, but 18, let's say 20, so that's 50 truckloads over, you know, and you have to look at round trips. So the reason why we can't put a hard number on it, but if you're looking at, that's 50 trips over a month. That's maybe 5 or 6 loads or 8 loads a day at the most.
right.
So, you know, in and out. And that's basically what you're going to be looking at.
So
But
you're
it's
not looking at putting
a lot of trucks
caravan of
on. No,
trucks
no,
going in and out? All right.
no, no.
Fair enough. All right, thank you.
You all set, Steve? Caleb?
Hi.
2 questions for you. So the first one might be the easier one. We'll do that. The runoff, there's no anticipated runoff into the street? That riprap was going to
none.
be all absorbed on the parcel?
Yeah, it's all absorbed on the parcel, nothing.
Okay. And then the second one is because we're looking at a more accelerated slope, or aggressive slope, how are we going to maintain the ground cover there so it doesn't get washed away?
You're gonna have, well, there's another drawing here. So, this is a heavy turf fabric that goes on, so you'll end up having a tackifier, you'll end up having where you do a hydro seed, tackifier. And then
What's
you're gonna-
tackifier?
It helps keep and bind the hydro seed to the soil.
The green stuff?
Yep,
Gotcha.
green stuff. Sometimes we get different colors now. So you do that, and then you're gonna put down a heavy accessory matting that goes over the top of it that binds it and stays in, it's pinned in the ground.
So
the
that-
vegetation comes up through it, eventually the vegetation stabilizes it, and then you're done. And that material typically, we're calling for a specific kind of matting. That matting generally can last anywhere from a year to 18 months before it starts, because the photosynthesis of the sun eventually
It will break
degrades
down.
it, breaks it down. But by that time, your vegetation is up.
So we're just looking at grasses that are intended to be planted
Well,
there.
grasses, but I will tell you, over time, you're gonna
Trees.
see woody material coming in. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. And we have no objections to woody material coming in. So the kind of material that we're gonna first put on is a heavy kind of grass. It's a mixture that DOT uses typically on 2-to-1 slopes.
How deep is the impact area that we're gonna have to have this grass grow?
This is a 20 scale, so you're looking at about 60 feet in depth. from
And then
one end to
behind
the
that is wooded, existing?
No, everything that up here is, this is the house. So there's really very little drainage that flows over to this area. This is the house, and then this is grass, and this flows this way, and this comes around this way. So there's really not a whole lot of drainage material that, except what the rainfall naturally falls on that area,
Gotcha.
so.
All right, any concerns with getting grass established even with the hydroseeding?
No, no. The key is getting the turf matting down
Gotcha,
tight. That is what's key.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm satisfied. Thank
You
you,
all
Mr.
set?
Chair.
Any other questions from members of the
I just
commission?
have a quick one.
Todd?
Just to confirm, it looks like there was only one person here. I saw the owner access approval letter, but you basically have confirmation that you're able to access from any needed points to be able to get this filled down in the backyard. I just want to make sure that there's
Yep.
no
Yep.
boxes that were left unchecked in that regard, because
Nope.
one thing with having trucks going by your house in the front, but totally different with having, a truck backing up on your property and down the hill and that
Yeah,
stuff.
this is, I will tell you that the neighbors are very close and very accepting. Our neighbor next door is very accepting of being able to have this happen, so.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Just a quick question, and, along the lines of what Caleb had asked, are there any anticipated drainage that's gonna flow into adjoining property owners, either on the, what I'll say is the east side or north side of that property?
No, everything that's naturally going there now is gonna be the same after this job is done.
Okay, and just to put it on the record, engineering and planning, you're both satisfied with the responses you've gotten from the applicant on this one?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Connor? Okay. No other questions from anyone here? We'll open it up to members of the public and see where we are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, if there's anyone who'd like to speak for or against this application, please come up to the podium, give us your name and your address, and share your thoughts. Going twice. Seeing none. Anything else you want to add?
The only thing is,
I think we're closing the public hearing after you
That's
talk,
good.
so.
Just look favorably on going to the 2-to-1 slope, that's all I ask.
Okay, is there any objection to closing the public hearing on this application from commissioners? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing on that one, move on to item 9B, Thomas and Christine Tarucci, special permit application to build a detached garage 36-foot by 28-foot with a 30-foot by 10-foot overhang, property located at 64 Knowles Avenue, zoned in an R12 SPU 717. I don't believe that we received comments or responses back to engineering comments, so we're going to ask for a table on this one until we get those responses. So Steve, could you give us a motion to table?
I'll make a motion to table SPU number 717.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Britton with a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 9C and 9D, if it's okay with the applicant, as we've done in the past, we're going to combine these two together. It's the same parcel of land, and it just makes for efficient use of all of our time. So is the applicant okay combining those two items together?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're looking at item 9C, 3 Squared LLC, proposed zoning text amendment for revisions to section 4 of the zoning regulations, special zones. The proposal includes adding section 4J entitled Affordable Housing Zone and AHZ to allow for the development of multifamily community as a set-aside development as defined in General Statutes 8-30GA 6, and to promote housing choice and economic diversity within the town of Southington. That's zone amendment 620. Item 9D, 3 Squared LLC petition to change the zone district boundary from business to AHZ, property located at 1104 South Main Street. This is currently zoned in a business zone. That would be zone change 582. Sir, floor is yours. Let's start with your name and your address, please.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Hammersley, members of the commission. I'm Attorney Tim Hollister with the law firm of Hinckley, Allen & Snyder. I'm here substituting tonight for my law partner, Andrea Gomes, and I'll apologize in advance that you're stuck with me tonight. With me, as in previous hearings, are Roy Evgen, member of the applicant, Steve Judas, landscape land surveyor and site designer, Bart Beauvais, professional engineer, accompanied by Mike Lambert, also a professional engineer, Scott Hesketh, our traffic engineer, Joe Versteeg, safety and code compliance expert, and Peter Bugren, architect. As you know, this is the third session for consideration of this property and the application. Started on May 15th, continued.
Attorney
until-
Hollister, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Could you just move that mic a little bit closer to you? So I'm having some difficulty hearing you up here.
That better?
It is much better. Yeah,
thank you.
thank you.
May 15th and July 15th, previous sessions with this property. So we have three tasks tonight. One is to present the final supplemental materials, which were filed on August 4th. Second is to update a few other events that have occurred since the July 15th hearing. And then third, we should be in position then to summarize and to close the hearing. So I will start with just touching on the elements of the August 4th supplemental package. There is a cover memo, tab 1, from my office that, among other things, addresses why code compliance is dispositive of safety issues, particularly fire code compliance, and confirming that we will accept an approval condition in line with the recommendation of the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection regarding the Natural Diversity Database. Tab 2 of the materials is a confirmation from Mr. LaValle that no wetland application or permit is required. Tab 3 is a memo from Mr. Hesketh about the adequacy of parking, and he will come to the podium and present that. Tab 4 is a memo from Mr. Beauvais reiterating stormwater management compliance, which he will comment on. Tab 5 is the approval of the fire marshal, which was supplemented this morning. I'm not sure I understood the difference in the supplement, but in any event, we have approval of the fire marshal and an inspector's signature from Mr. Chazak. And then finally, tab 6 is one final relatively minor revision of the proposed zoning regulation, which appears on page 2 of tab 6, and that is the clarification of signage shown in subsection 7, and that clarifies that the applicant will comply with the town's standard sign regulations, having the option to have a sign permit either approved in conjunction with a site plan, or as here, the intention being to deal with the signage with staff after the site plan approval. Other events since July 15th, the Board of Water Commissioners on August 14th confirmed the water supply to the site. And then, I believe the week before that, Mr. Oakes, welcome to your new position, provided a list of final comments to which the applicant's engineers replied. And Mr. Oakes then confirmed that the responses were satisfactory. So in this point, I'm going to just, in order, have Mr. Beauvais, Mr. Hesketh, and Mr. Versteeg just provide some final comments. Mr. Beauvais.
Good evening. My name is Bart Beauvais, professional engineer. I work for Coles Engineering and Surveying in South Main Street in Plantsville. I've been a professional engineer for 40 years, and I've been involved in both the design and the final completion, and also the revisions of the submitted plans, and that includes the drainage design. And I can say that the Plans as submitted comply with all state, local, and federal regulations with regard to stormwater management, and the plans are safe, and in my professional opinion, the design meets all requirements of safety and properness of the site and the area. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Typically, what we do is we wait until your presentation's done, and then we come back with questions.
Okay.
The password. Good evening. For the record, Scott Hesketh, licensed engineer, the firm of F.A. Hesketh and Associates, the author of an August 1st, 2025 letter, which has been submitted in support of the application. The letter, we prepared the letter at the request of the applicant to outline and demonstrate the adequacy of the parking proposed for the site. Currently, the site plan shows, well, based on the proposed zoning amendment of the 45 one-bedroom units and 9 two-bedroom units have a total of 63 bedrooms, and based on the new ordinance, a total of 63 parking spaces are required. The plan shows a total of 70 parking spaces, which is a supply ratio of 1.3 spaces per unit and 1.1 spaces per bedroom, and both of those ratios are consistent with the proposed zoning ordinance. We took a look at the Institute of Transportation Engineers parking demand study. Traffic engineers go out and do traffic or parking counts at existing developments. They count the number of parking spaces, they count the number of vehicles utilizing those parking spaces, submit the data to the ITE, who presents a very, very thick book analyzing all of that data. The ITE includes 2 applicable land uses for this particular use, which is Land Use Code 220, which is multifamily housing low-rise, and Land Use Code 223, affordable housing. We have a mix of the 2 uses here on the site. Based on the ITE numbers, the multifamily housing has an average parking demand of 1.21 spaces per unit during the weekday, 1.31 spaces per unit on a Saturday, and on a Sunday, based on one observation, 1.66 spaces per unit were required. When they do the calculations by the number of bedrooms, during the weekdays, 0.66 spaces are required per bedroom, and a Saturday, 0.8 spaces per bedroom. The affordable housing, Land Use Code 223, has an average parking demand of 0.99 spaces per unit on a weekday, 0.79 spaces on a Saturday, and 0.96 spaces on a Sunday per unit. And per bedroom, they require 0.54 spaces on a weekday, and based on a single observation, 0.27 on a Sunday. Again, the proposed plan provides 1.3 spaces per unit and 1.11 spaces per bedroom, so I believe we fall in line with the ITE numbers. When you read through the ITE numbers, when they look at affordable housing units, when they have a unit or a development that's identified as affordable housing, they assume that all of the units in that development are affordable. And as one can tell, our proposed development is going to be affordable housing, but only 30% of the units are going to be affordable. And you can see, based on the different ratios of the parking demands of the normal priced housing and affordable housing units, we believe that the parking ratios for affordable housing are high from the ITE numbers. So if you run the proposed development based on the weighted average of those 2 parking ratios, the proposed development would require a total of 62 spaces on the weekday and Saturday based on the mix of units, and 78 spaces on a Sunday based on the mix of units. On a per bedroom basis, the proposed development would require 40 spaces to comply with the ITE rates based on the weighted averages. Again, we're proposing 70 spaces for the 63 bedrooms this proposed development. In addition, our office over the years has conducted parking need counts at several developments throughout the Connecticut area. We looked at developments known as Knollcrest and Woodgate in Middletown, and Beaman Brook and Wittenberry Place in Bloomfield. We did our parking observations between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m., which is why we only did 4 units, because it's hard to find people to want to work that time of night. The average parking ratios or demands at those particular units were 1.28 vehicles per unit and 0.73 vehicles per bedroom. And those numbers fall in line with the ITE numbers. So the applicant has also indicated that this particular development, in their leasing of the units to individual users, they will have the ability to restrict the number of vehicles that are owned by the users, so they can maintain parking ratios of the ratios that of 1 bedroom per unit in their leasing, and they can do that by offering stickers or parking stickers to residents of the development. And then they could limit the number of spaces or vehicles owned by renters to 63, thereby leaving the 7 visitor spaces available for visitors at other times. So based on the parking data information from the ITE, based on the observations our office has made at other developments in the vicinity, and based on the parking ratios provided on the proposed site plan, it's my professional opinion that the plan not only meets the proposed zoning ordinance as it's being proposed, but also provides an adequate number of parking spaces to serve the anticipated parking needs of the proposed development. If the commission has any questions, I will be here throughout the remainder of the hearing and take them at the appropriate time. So now I'll pass it over to the architect to give you a couple of points on the architecture. Mr. Versteeg, yes.
Good evening. My name is Joe Versteeg. I'm the Building and Fire Safety Code Consultant representing the applicant in this matter. I'll briefly summarize, you have 2 documents before you that was previously submitted, my April 26th memorandum to the committee and my June 30th memorandum. In the initial memorandum, I told you that I examined the architectural plans and the elevations as well as the site and development plans for the project, and found them to be in compliance with the Connecticut State Building Code, Fire Safety Code, and Fire Prevention Code. As you know, if this project is approved by you, then construction documents will be developed to determine or to demonstrate total compliance with the building code and the fire safety code, as well as the plumbing, electrical, and mechanical codes, energy conservation codes, and the accessibility standards, which will detail every aspect of those documents that's applicable to the project. Once submitted to the building official and fire marshal, and upon their review and approval, only then will a building permit be issued for construction. The construction will be monitored by those code officials, fire marshal and building official, throughout the construction of the project to determine compliance with the code as well as the approved documents, plans and construction documents. And only then will approvals be granted and a certificate of occupancy. At any point in time there's not compliance, then a stop work order will be issued. Once a permit has been issued and construction has started, or in the initial phase of plan review, a permit will not be issued. So compliance with the building codes and the fire codes and adopted standards is ensured by state statute, the reviews that are required. In June 30th memo, I addressed a couple issues. There was some concerns from the public regarding proximity to neighboring properties. Without going into detail, the building code establishes the fire resistance rating that would be required for an exterior wall, and then subsequently the number of window openings and door openings in that wall based on what's called fire separation distance, how far that wall is away from a property line. In our case, all of the walls exceed the 20-foot distance, so there's no fire resistance rating required, and the numbers of windows and door openings that are unprotected, meaning just plain glass Anderson that you would get at a normal Home Depot, are unlimited. So there's no requirements. The concern is that as you get closer to the lot line, you pose a danger to the neighboring property. And that's where fire resistance rating requirements come into play, reductions of numbers of percentages of windows. That's not the case in our building. We're totally compliant. There was also a comment made about the placement of the exit stairs within the building with regards to OSHA requirements. As I stated previously, the Occupational Safety and Hazards Act does not apply to residential buildings. It was established by the Department of Labor solely for the protection of employees in workplace environments, not residential. As a side note, because of the lack of specificity in the OSHA standards, objective measurable dimensions, rather than rewriting the OSHA standard, what OSHA and the Department of Labor chose to do was adopt nationally recognized standards as an alternative. One of those being the International Fire Code, and they specified the 2009 edition because it was based on testimony in 2006. Those requirements in that International Fire Code, if they were applicable, document that our building is in compliance. We're allowed a distance of travel to reach and exit from wherever you are of 250 feet. Our maximum measurement's about 160. What's an interesting note is that today's fire code in Connecticut, the 2022 Fire Safety Code, is patterned after the 2021 International Fire Code, which contains the same requirements as the 2009 edition, adopted as an equivalent in OSHA. As a last-minute addition, there was some discussion about excessive vehicle speeds in the area. As you know, if you've been down that road, this vehicle posted speed limit is 35 miles an hour. I will tell you that the accurate objective measurements of a motor vehicle speed can only be obtained through the use of a calibrated speed measuring device, such as radar or laser. Any statement as to the speed of a motor vehicle based on visual observation, absent the use of a calibrated speed measuring device, is completely is a subjective viewpoint. And that's all I have, and I'll await your questions at the end.
Thanks. Thank you.
Excuse me.
To wrap up our comments tonight, I just would respectfully like to submit a couple of suggested reasons for approval of this proposed development as follows. Number one, the development will provide needed lower-cost rental housing in the town of Southington. You've been provided with a quality architectural design, both exterior and interior features. The development will be governed by a program-specific zoning regulation and a detailed affordability plan, which has been time-tested in many communities around the state and has worked very well. The building and the site plan as revised and reduced conform now to the underlying B zone rules and requirements. Town staff, to my knowledge, have all signed off on the plans in one way or the other. You have been given professional opinions about stormwater management, traffic safety, parking adequacy, fire safety, and all other parameters relevant to the comfort and safety of the proposed residents. Conversely, we don't believe there's any evidence in the record of a substantial public health or safety concern. The plan will redevelop an underutilized site, and so we respectfully submit that each of the three parts of the application warrants your approval. And I would note, if my colleague did not mention this previously, as a procedural matter, you should vote on each of the three parts separately. The regulation change.
We're aware of how to vote.
Okay.
We know how to do our job, sir. Thank you.
I didn't know if it had been brought up, but I appreciate that you are aware of it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Any questions of the applicant at this time?
I have a
Commissioner
question
Woloski,
for
yeah.
Mr. Hesketh, please.
Scott.
So in the second paragraph of your August 1st letter, you indicate that based on the Town of Southington's new affordable housing ordinance, section 4.J, a total of 60, you know what it says. However, you're quoting an ordinance that we haven't voted on yet, am I correct?
I believe it's the ordinance under which this site plan is being prepared, so whether you,
So you're putting the cart ahead of the horse. You're basing your professional opinion on something that hasn't been approved yet, am I correct?
a portion of my opinion is based on that zoning ordinance
Right,
that's
thank
before
you.
you this evening. That's
Thank you.
correct.
I have nothing else. Thank you.
Any other questions of the applicant?
I have a quick question. I apologize if I missed it. Of the 70 parking spaces, is there a certain number that are handicap and/or EV-only spaces?
Yes, I believe there are handicapped and EV spaces.
Do you know how many out of the 70?
I don't have that
That
information
would be
handy,
helpful to
but
know.
someone in the team can take a look at that and let me know. 8 total? 8 total, I'm told.
8 out of the 70 are very specifically related to handicap and/or EV only, with 63.
I'm sorry, I'm told now 7 EV and 3 accessible spaces.
Thank you.
Any other questions of the applicant? Scott, because you're up there, let's delve into my questions for
Might as
you,
well.
okay? We'll start with your statement that the landlord is going to require only one vehicle per bedroom, right? By issuing, I think you suggested stickers for the cars to be put on. How's that going to be policed?
I can leave that up to the operator, but generally speaking, they'll, in their lease agreement with the renters, they'll specify how many vehicles they're allowed to maintain on site. They will issue stickers so that they are aware which vehicles are allowed on site and which are not. And they will probably have to contract with a management company or somebody else to take a look at it, and or if there are complaints or it becomes an issue, then they would have to go out and remove those vehicles which are not allowed on site.
Okay. I asked at our last meeting, on July 17th, I think was the date of the last meeting, if I'm correct, if a parking needs assessment had been done on this project. You responded that it had not. Has this parking needs assessment between then and today been done on this project? This specific project?
What do you mean on a parking needs assessment? What is your definition of that?
Well, you cite several parking needs assessments that were done in your memo, so I assume that you know what the definition of a parking needs assessment. And what it does is it does exactly what it says. It says, based on the project and the proposed number of units, this is the parking that is needed in order to accommodate that number of units. So have you done one for this specific project? Between now and July 17th, when you testified that you had not?
Yes, the letter before you indicates that this proposed development has a parking need of 1 space per bedroom,
Okay.
and we are providing more spaces than 1 space per bedroom.
Yeah, you see, Scott, this is part of the frustration, right? Because you're not answering my question. My question is very yes or no. Have you done a parking needs assessment on this project?
Yes, the parking needs assessment for this project is 1 space per bedroom. That's the parking needs assessment
Based
for
on
this project.
Based on the adoption of an ordinance that hasn't even been, the public hearing hasn't even been closed on yet, correct?
Based on the parking needs
just answered.
published by the Institute of Transportation Engineers as confirmed by other observations made by our office at several operating facilities throughout the Connecticut area.
On page 3 of your memo, your latest memo dated August 1, 2025, you reference what you call local data, and you speak to part of what you had done during a previous project in the town of Middletown. You had conducted a parking lot count at 4 apartment developments, right? 2 in Middletown and 2 in Bloomfield, so I think that's a little bit weird, but whatever. And then that table count is presented in table 1. Is it your opinion, Scott, that Middletown and Bloomfield are similar communities to the town of Southington?
I think apartment units in Middletown and Bloomfield are similar to apartment units in Southington, yes.
Okay.
And I will note that the counts that we did, which were referenced, were for a particular development in Middletown. And therefore, we looked at 2 locations in Middletown and 2 locations in Bloomfield at the time of that study. So to clear up any confusion in your mind as to what that means.
I'm not confused, but you haven't done it for this project. You haven't done that for this project, correct?
I have the data available, so I did not do any additional studies. That's correct.
You submitted what you submitted. I think it's your second attachment to your memo. The headline on it is Land Use 220 Multifamily Housing Low Rise, and talks about percent of peak parking demand. And then it lists out a series of hours or block of hours. The first one being a 4-hour period, every other one being an hour period. Those are percentages, correct? Of what the parking lot use is during those times of day based on not even yours, it's the ITE parking generation 5th edition standard, correct?
Those are IT, yes, those are percentages of the peak observed parking demand. Whatever percentage is listed there was what was observed during those particular hours of the day in the IT studies.
Okay. I want to move on to the engineer, please. Mr. Bovine, is that your name? Okay. I've asked this question of every other person on the panel here, of the team, if you will. You weren't here last time. I'm going to ask you, because you made a statement, I'm paraphrasing, in my professional opinion, there is no public safety concerns on this project. As a licensed professional engineer, what are your qualifications to state whether something is a public safety concern or not?
I've been a professional engineer for 40 years, worked on many, probably in the hundreds of site projects, mainly dealing with site work, and I've worked on many condominiums, apartments, and residential subdivisions, commercial. So I feel like I'm very qualified to make that statement.
Okay. The architect? Just one quick question for you. During your testimony, you opine on perception of speeding and whether that was something that can be trusted or not, correct?
Yes.
Am I saying that accurately enough?
Yes.
What qualifications do you have to be able to qualify a statement as being professional or serious?
20 years as a Connecticut State Trooper.
You were a state trooper for 20 years?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, I appreciate that. One final question for the applicant. This would be Attorney Hostler, please. Attorney Hostler, your name isn't on the memo, but I assume that you looked it over and you're ready to defend anything that's said in this memo,
Yes.
right? There's a statement on page 2 of that memo dated August 4th, 2025. And I'm just going to read the statement and then ask for some clarification. It should be noted that it is improper for members of the commission to discuss a pending application with members of the public off the record during a public hearing as occurred at the June 17th meeting. Can you clarify that statement, please?
Well, I'll do the best I can, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
I understand from my colleague that there was kind of a spirited discussion about what communications were proper and not proper. I'm not sure I could tell you chapter and verse who spoke to whom about what. I did see this memo before it was filed. I believe it is a correct statement of the law. I also sort of think, are we not past that in this process? I think we're just trying to wrap up zoning compliance matters, and so I don't, as to that particular paragraph, I can say that it is accurately stated as a matter of the law. As it applies to this hearing, I'm not sure I can give you.
Well, I mean, it infers, at the very least, it infers, if not directly suggests that someone on this commission acted improperly.
I don't
And
know.
I just want to make sure that the record reflects who you are inferring, not you personally, obviously, right? But who are we referring as being someone who acted improperly? Because that comes into play later on down the line in terms of whatever action this commission may end up taking on this application. You understand that, right?
I understand what you're saying. I don't have any particular name, person, or action or conversation to put in the spotlight. I can just say, as I said earlier, there's my understanding that there was a robust discussion about this topic and a discussion about what the law and the requirements actually are. Attorney Gomes responded with a memo, and I think that's as far as I can take it tonight.
Okay. Public hearing is going to end on this application this evening.
Yes,
Attorney Gomes knew this.
yes.
I'm going to suggest that absent any further information, any detailed information, that such a statement is inaccurate, improper, and unless you can come back to me before the public hearing closes, after we give the opportunity or open up the opportunity to members of the public to say whatever they want to say, that if there's no clarification on that statement, I'm going to ask you on the record at the close of this, before we close this public hearing, to withdraw that sentence from this memo officially, because I don't know what that means. It sounds like you're trying to set the stage for something down the line, and I want to make sure that we have a record of what that is exactly.
Well, while I'm standing here, I will say I'm not going to ask, the applicant's not going to ask that any member of this commission recuse themselves from voting based on that statement. I think Attorney Gomes was trying to respond to the discussion and generically, not in terms of any personal action or statement or conversation. So,
You understand as an attorney that that is quite a personal statement to people who are up here volunteering their time, correct?
I understand you're volunteering your time, and I understand that also that sometimes these generic topics need to be clarified on the record, but it would only be personal if we were calling out someone in particular, and that is not the purpose or what is stated in the memo.
Okay. Well, I'll take that you don't know who it is.
That's correct.
And that my assumption is that it really was nobody. I don't see any value to adding that sentence into any part of this, but that aside, I don't think we need to go on about this. I'd rather open it up to the public unless you have anything else to say before we do that.
I did want to respond to Commissioner Walowski's
Yep.
comment about, or question about whether the parking was being validated based on the regulation that has not been adopted. That's not the way we see it. Certainly, we want to make sure that our site plan complies with the regulation that we are proposing. I think that's a given. But the adequacy of the parking, as Mr. Hesketh has addressed it, is based on the number of bedrooms and the ITE data, not the regulation, just so we're clear on that distinction.
And just to put it on the record yet again, as I did at the last meeting, when I asked Attorney Gomes for a statutory citation, what you all were calling the state standard, she cited Public Act 21-29.
Right.
So I just want to put that on the record as being what y'all were referring to as a state standard that only required one parking space per bedroom.
That's correct.
That was said quite clearly at the last meeting, and it's noted as well.
Yes, and just to add to the drama, of course, that state standard was proposed for repeal in House Bill 5002, which was then vetoed by the governor. So who knows where we're heading with
Well,
state
so
standards.
it wasn't repealed.
That's right.
And in any event,
Not yet.
even if it was, we wouldn't be operating underneath that because this application was before us before that law even was passed. So,
Good point.
yeah, thank you, sir. Y'all will get a chance to come back up at the end here. So we're going to open up to members of the public. Anyone who'd like to testify in favor of this project, please come forth. I will say before anybody comes up that if you've already testified in any of our number of other previous public hearings on this application, your position is on the record. In the interest of everybody else in the room who maybe did not testify, let's sort of refrain from that for now. But if there's anyone who'd like to testify in favor of this application, please approach the podium. Regina, how many times have you been here testifying on this one?
A number of times, but
Okay.
I actually have some degree.
Okay, let's please make it quick in deference to the 30 other people in the room. I count this as number 4.
Well, I guess I'll be the one to clarify from last meeting. You, sir, Chair Hammersley, you did tell Andrea, I believe her name is, Attorney Gomes, that no one was allowed to call and reach out. The public could not do that. So you were the one that made that statement. And then you also added to that, if you found out that anyone did that, that they would be in trouble. You can watch the video, read your minutes, all that. But anyone from the public can reach out to any applicant and ask questions. The only people that cannot talk about it is the commission. Thank you.
Thanks, Regina. Anyone else like to testify in favor of this application at this time? Is there anyone like to testify in opposition to the application? Please come forward and let's start with your name and your address and share your thoughts, please.
Good evening. My name is Michael Ricchio, 124 Andrews Street in Southington, here to speak in opposition of the application. I think for the matter of the record, it'd be important to just state my background, both publicly and private. So I served on this zoning commission here, this commission for 8 years. I was chairman for 4. Served on the town council for at least 8 years, where we set policy for the town. I currently serve as a police commissioner on the police commission, where we review public safety frequently at each of our meetings. Traffic conditions, traffic incidences, and everything that goes around public safety. I currently also serve on the parking authority, and I have for probably 8 years. And on the parking authority, we deal on a regular basis with parking issues of overnight parking in public streets and public parking lots. On the private side, I've been a licensed real estate appraiser for over 25 years, a licensed real estate agent in the state of Connecticut for probably 10 plus years. I own and develop multiple apartment buildings. I'm currently in the process of a 750 unit residential and commercial mixed use development here in the state of Connecticut, where we are addressing parking currently. I was the 2021 Home Builder of the Year, and I'm a current member of the Central Connecticut Board of Directors for the Connecticut Home Builders Association. I want to specifically address the safety of this, and then I'll talk about one other issue. But right now, we are in the process up on Pleasant Street of putting in a crosswalk at our middle school. And I would submit to this commission that Pleasant Street, although other than school mornings, is a far less busier road than South Main Street in Plantsville, where in the vicinity of this project in Kennedy Middle School. There's been numerous accidents up there at DePaulo, which is why that light's going in, because there's a lot of kids that are walking to school and getting dropped off by their parents and intermixing with bus traffic in that area. I think by the applicant's own admission, I was actually shocked that they would put on the record that they're going to initiate by themselves on their own parking requirements that restrict the number of units or the number of cars that can park in this size development. By their own admission, they're already anticipating a parking problem. That should be a huge red flag to you guys. And I would not close the public hearing tonight, in my opinion. I'd keep it open. I'd hire your own traffic engineer, because I would submit that their traffic engineer, who they're paying to come here, is not going to come here under being paid and tell you something negative about their parking situation. So you really need to look at the safety. We have a middle school right there. There's not enough parking here. The complex that I mentioned, 750 units, we're looking at a minimum of 1.5 units, parking spaces per unit at a minimum. They have 7 electric vehicles. They have 3, I think they said, in a total of 10 spaces that are essentially unusable unless you have specific needs. So where does the overflow parking end up? Do they have an arrangement with any of the properties in the surrounding area? I'm going to guess no. You will never have the ability to police their parking. It's just not allowed. So the fact that they put that on the record is shocking, but I would take a look at that. And, you know, places like, if you listen when there's snow days in the state of Connecticut, what towns are held out more days than a town like Southington? Waterbury comes to mind, and it's not just because of the hills in Waterbury, it's because Waterbury, all of their parking is on the public road, and it's a safety hazard because they can't get the snow out of the way. I think you're looking at, based on the background that I gave you, both public and private, in my opinion, you're looking at a public safety issue here coming down the road. There's just simply not enough parking. The state of Connecticut, which I completely disagree with, I think it's a fraud how they do their affordable housing, paints a broad brush. And with that broad brush, they say this affordable housing issue can be applied anywhere. And I don't know those places that they mentioned in Middletown and Bloomfield. Are there restaurants close to those? Are there grocery stores close by that people can walk to? I don't know, but you can't walk to a restaurant or a grocery store from this specific site. So you're going to need a car to get anywhere. And when the state of Connecticut paints this with this broad brush, they include cities. And in cities, a lot of people don't have cars. So the parking requirements that this gentleman mentioned under the national parking codes or the engineering codes apply, they're a broad brush application, and they would never apply to this specific spot. This project is overdeveloped for this piece of property. And I do have a question for you, Mr. Chairman, because I don't understand it. On the public hearing tonight, the 2 portions of the public hearing are petition of a zoning district boundary from B to AHZ. Is the AHZ zone something that the town of Southington created?
That's their, if you look at the number, the agenda item above that, that's their zone text amendment that they're proposing as part of this application. It's typical in an affordable housing application that they propose a zone text amendment to set the boundaries of that project.
Under the state of Connecticut statutes, are you required to change the zone?
I'm not sure, but it is something that, having sat through 2 of these, that we have done that in the past. Very, very specific to that piece of property, if you will.
Okay. So would that be considered spot zoning?
I don't know.
Okay, I think that's a question that would need to be answered for the public's sake.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not sure, because it's been a while since I sat on this commission, but under the Affordable Housing Act, are you allowed to take into consideration property values affected by the construction of this particular project?
I do not believe so. It's only public safety and public health concerns.
Okay. Well, regardless, I'll submit for the record, it is my professional opinion as a licensed appraiser that if you create a public housing, if you create a private housing complex that does not have adequate parking, and the parking spills onto the street where it creates a safety hazard, especially across from a middle school, that will negatively impact the values on the surrounding properties. Whether or not that's anything that this commission can use if they choose to deny this application, I don't know. But I would like to submit that for the record. And that's all I have.
Okay, any questions, Mr. Ricchio? Caleb?
Hey,
Caleb?
so I'm asking you to wear your police commissioner hat for a second. So I'm not sure, and I tried to do the Google Maps to see what's there, but because it's a state road, does our police commission or does our municipality have the authority to install no parking signs on a state road?
I do not believe that we do.
Okay.
I don't know that 100%, but I don't believe that we have that option. I think we have temporary ability to do that, but not on a state road.
Okay, all right, thank you. That was my question.
Joe?
Just a comment. I've driven in that area, and there's already no parking signs on that road, in that area. And there's no-
On that side of the street?
On the side of the project, and on the other side of the project, you can't park because it's just one big piece of driveway. And the shoulders are not wide enough to park a car without the operator of the car getting out and stepping into traffic.
Okay.
I don't know. I know the state has, you can opt out of parking requirements. I don't believe the town of Southington has opted out of any parking requirements. Is that correct?
I'm not sure. We're going to look into that.
Okay.
Any other questions of Mr. Ricchio? Mike, how long have you lived in the town of Southington?
57 years.
Your whole life,
Yes, sir.
without divulging any secrets?
Yeah. Well, there you go.
As such, you're eminently familiar with the way this town looks, has grown over the last 57 years, correct?
I am. I'm a little shocked that a Southington resident would bring an application like this forward, but that's the way life goes, I guess.
Yeah, we won't opine on that, but you're basing the statements that you made based on your knowledge and understanding of this area as a town of Southington resident for the last 57 years, correct?
I'm basing it on my public service background and my state licensures that I currently hold, and my private. I'm a fairly experienced developer, so.
Okay, and one final question I'm going to ask is that in their August 4th, 2025 memo, I'm not sure whether you've had a chance to see it. Anyways, they reference with regards to the parking issue, a project that was done at 456 Atwater Street in Southington, where they state that it has 22 bedrooms and only 44 parking spaces. Would you suggest that 456 Atwater Street is a comparable location to where this proposal is?
I'm not familiar with that specific property or the parking there, but as far as streets go and location, it's not across the street from the middle school. And my comments about a complex of this nature is specific to the safety of it. I would not be submitting as a developer a project to my community where public safety is going to become an issue. And that's unquestionable, in my professional opinion, on this particular project.
Okay. Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Anyone else? Thanks. Anyone else like to testify in opposition to this application? Attorney Hostler? You get one last crack at it here. Okay. I have a question, Attorney Hostler, relative to 456 Atwater Street, which was stated again in your firm's memo dated August 4th, 2025. Are you aware that when that project was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission in Southington?
No.
Would it surprise you to learn that that project was approved in 1981?
No.
Would you suggest that standards and regulations that were held in 1981 be applicable to 2025?
1981 standards applicable, I suppose it depends on whether they're still on the books. Standards do change over time, yes.
Okay, all right. Nothing else? Anyone have any other questions? Okay, without objection, and even if you have it, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing on this one. Anyone?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Jamie, was that you? Second, Mr. Commissioner Sewell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing on that matter is closed. Just so you all know, we're going to table those actions when it comes to the business meeting. I think this as a group, we have a lot that we have to sort of digest. It's been sort of fed to us over the last couple months. So if you all want to leave, by all means, go for it. Nothing's going to happen tonight. We're back here again on September 2nd, the day after Labor Day. I don't know we'll see if we act on it then, is all I could say. But I don't want to hold you guys up if you wanted to leave, so. I know at least with the attorney, Mr. Evans, you're paying money for that, so we want to get him out the door as soon as possible, so you maybe save a buck or two, but, in any event, let's move to the business meeting. This is item 10A, Michael and Gail Ambrose, earth excavation application to consider the request to perform an earth excavation to stabilize a rear yard slope of 45 Copper Ridge Road. This is zoned in R80, EE 146. Do we have a motion? Commissioner Woloski?
Can I ask Dave a question?
Oh, Yep,
Dave, do we need to deal with the 2-to-1 slope before
Yeah.
we approve this?
Yep.
That would be your, Mr. Chairman, that would be your first vote. It has to be a 2/3 majority. On the record, engineering and
Yeah.
planning are comfortable with that.
so, good,
Right.
good catch, Steve, yeah. So we're looking for a motion first on allowing the slope to exceed the standards set in our regulation. So do we have a motion to allow that?
I'll make a motion to allow the 2-to-1 slope on EE 146.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Chaplinsky with a second. Again, this requires a 2/3 vote, so with 7 people, if we get 2 noes, I think we're at the limit there. So with that, Dave, could you call the roll, please?
Sure, Commissioner Coles?
Yes.
Commissioner Britton?
Yes.
Commissioner Sewell?
Yes.
Commissioner Gaida?
Yes.
Commissioner Chaplinsky?
Yes.
Vice Chair Orlowski?
Yes.
Chair Hammersley?
Hammersley, did he call you Jamie?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Okay. Commissioner Hammersley is a yes. Motion carries 7-0. You have your 2/3 vote on that. Now we're looking for a motion on the overall application. Commissioner Orlowski.
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve EE number 146.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Britton with a second. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, can you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Coles?
Yes.
Commissioner Britton?
Yes.
Commissioner Sewell?
Yes.
Commissioner Gaida?
Yes.
Commissioner Chaplinsky?
Yes.
Vice Chair Orlowski?
Yes.
And Chair Hammersley?
Guess how this one's going. 7-0 on, I'm a yes. 7-0 on this one as well. Congratulations. Best of luck to you all. Yep. Item 10B, we have a public hearing that still hasn't even kicked off on this, so we'll look for a table on this. Commissioner Woloski,
Yes, I'll make a motion to table SPU 717.
do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Chaplinsky with a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10C, D, and E all have to do with the 830G that we just had before us. We just closed the public hearing on this. I'm going to look for a motion to table each one of these separately. So if we can look at table item number 10C, which is ZA620, can we get a motion to table that?
Motion to table ZA620.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Chaplinsky with a second?
Jamie.
Commissioner Sewell with a second, sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10D, this is ZC 582. Can we get a motion to table this, Commissioner Woloski?
Motion to table ZC 582.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Britton with a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10E, this is SPR 1897. Commissioner Woloski with a motion.
Motion to table SPR 1897.
A motion is a second.
Second.
Commissioner Chaplinsky with a second.
Mr. Sewell.
Oh, and my hearing depth is bad over there. We have a Commissioner Sewell with a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10F, Buck LLC site plan modifications application for flex space building outside storage area property located at 50 Mastriani Place. This is zoned in an I2 SPR 1823.3. It's my understanding, Dave, that the applicant has requested a table on this one.
Yes, Mr.
Can we
Chairman.
get a motion to table this?
Motion to table SPR 1823.3.
We have a motion and a second.
I'll second.
Commissioner Guider with a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10G, 279 Queen Street LLC. This is Aroma Joe's. If you haven't been there, please go. E&S bond release request of $3,700. Property located at 279 Queen Street, zoned in a business zone, SPR 1878. And Connor, are we all set with this one?
Yes.
Okay. Can we get a motion?
Motion to approve SPR 1878.
Do we have, I think we want a motion to release the bond on SPR 1878.
I'll make a motion to release the bond on SPR 1878.
Only took me 6 years to get it right, but, okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Sewell with a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? We could do a voice vote on this, Dave, yeah?
Sure.
Yeah. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10H, DZ Inc., LLC, E&S bond release request of $7,500, property located at 93 Industrial Drive, zoned I-1, SPR 1571.3. Connor, is this one ready?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Can we get a motion to release this bond?
I'll make a motion to release the bond on SPR 1571.3.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Guyder with a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10I, Hillcrest Homes LLC, letter of credit release, request of $192,000, property located at 508 Merida Waterbury Turnpike. This is owned in R40, SPR 1485. Connor, is this one ready?
Yes.
Good job. Can we get a motion to release the credit in the amount of $192,000 on this one? Commissioner Wallowski?
I'll make a motion to release the letter of credit in the amount of $192,000 for SPR 1485.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Britton with a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, administrative items. We have one item under there, Southington Industrial Properties LLC, site plan modification application to increase building size, property located at 96 and 108 Industrial Drive, zoned as an I-1, SPR 1893.1. Dave LaValle, you want to talk about this? Or we?
Sure, I'll read it right from the memo. The site plan modification application is for an approved building. They're seeking a width increase of 20 feet, bringing the square footage from 27,500 square feet to 33,615 square feet. The parking orientation has been angled, but the same number of spots are provided. No significant grading changes or interior traffic circulation changes. I know engineering had a few comments, but we can resolve those prior to the zoning permit sign off.
Perfect.
Connor, anything?
Nope, nothing additional.
Okay, so I think on this one it's appropriate, if we're gonna move a motion on this one, that we do it with a stipulation that engineering signs off on the final documents before anything gets done. Do we need a motion on this, Dave, even, or
You can get a consensus, just do a voice vote.
is there any objection to them handling this administratively?
No.
Caleb, you look like you were gonna say something?
Perfectly capable.
It's a lot of square feet, but
It's, Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, it's a 100-foot wide building now, they're just adding 20 feet. So the linear, that's why it sounds like a big number, because the length of it
Right.
is, 275
they're
feet.
adding
so,
20%.
Yeah, so it's not real
20% 's a lot.
bulk, it's 20 feet, and it's a big site. so.
Okay. How big is,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
getting there, I'm
yeah,
getting
Yeah,
there. How big is the site? And I'm sorry, I didn't pull it up on my GIS.
yeah, I can't answer
Pretty,
size-wise, but it's not, lot coverage is met, so don't
lot coverage is
worry.
met, no
Yeah,
issues with runoff.
Right.
Okay, all right, yeah.
You okay? Anyone else have an objection to handling this administratively? Speak now. Don't blame the piper later on down the road. Okay, guys, go for it. There you go. Item number 12, any other receipts you got, Dave?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, seeing none, looking for a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Wallowski,
Motion to adjourn.
second.
Second.
Commissioner Britton, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Pretty close.